What all the tests a pregnancy seeking couple, that is an infertile couple, have to undergo when they approach a fertility specialist or when they approach a gynecologist? They will always do certain tests in their levels, okay, and they will come to know that this is the problem for the couple, but always gynecologist wants to give some treatment for few months for the conception, because with the basic treatments many people will conceive, and with the basic treatment many people will not conceive also. So the people who cannot conceive after 6 months of taking treatment with a gynecologist, they have to approach a good fertility center. They have to come to know what problem they are having. They have to know what kind of treatment they have to undergo, how many months it will take for their conception, how much money they have to spend for the conception, and what are the medication, everything they have to take for the conception, or whether they have to undergo IUI or IVF treatment or ICSI treatment, whether they have to take only medication for certain period and which good kind of medication. So it all depends upon the problem what they are having. Every couple's treatment is different from the other couple. So they should not think that that couple is undergoing certain treatment which is costing about at least 5,000 to 10,000 rupees, and the doctor is telling for our treatment it will cost around 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs, whatever it is. So what kind of test they have to undergo, a couple has to undergo, whether they have to undergo the same test 100% they have to undergo in the center. Actually sometimes the couple might have undergone some of the tests only 2 or 3 months back. If the tests are okay for us and if the tests give proper information to the doctor, again there is no need for us also to do the tests. Suppose if it gives 50% information, the other 50% information giving test we will advise to undergo. And husband actually he has to undergo certain tests about mainly certain blood tests, certain hormone tests, and certain semen qualitative analysis, culture, whether there is any infection or not, or survival, that is how much time the spermatozoa is able to survive. What is the importance of survival of spermatozoa? If the spermatozoa is able to survive, actually what will happen, whenever the couple undergoes coitus, the spermatozoa will be delivering into vagina. From the vagina again all the spermatozoa will not reach the uterus. Many of the spermatozoa will get filtered in the vagina itself and they will come out. Half of the spermatozoa will go down and half they will try to just get out of the vagina, and they have to again come to uterine cavity, endometrial cavity. Here there are two doors, one is external os, one is internal os, and again they have to cross all the doors and again they have to come into the uterine cavity, and after that they have to enter the fallopian tubes. There are two fallopian tubes in the female reproductive system. In one fallopian tube actually the in one ovary the egg is going to grow in this month. In the next month actually the other ovary is going to give us the egg. So this egg is coming into the fallopian tube, and at the same time usually after 1 year or 2 years of their marital in their marriage period, usually every couple undergo coitus every day or alternate days. So when the egg is here, when the egg is traveling from the ovary to the tube, fallopian tube, the egg will stay here for certain period. In the same period the spermatozoa, the very good spermatozoa has to come and enter the egg. Then we call it as fertilization. So how many eggs should be there for fertilization? Only one egg. How many sperm should be there? Only one sperm. But here crores of sperms, that is crores of sperms will get released from the one coitus time. After that again, after the release everything, after the cleaning process, again only few spermatozoa, very good and proper spermatozoa will come up to the uterine cavity and the fallopian tube, and only 10 to 15 spermatozoa will come and just they will surround the egg. But out of this 10 and 15 spermatozoa, only one spermatozoa will enter here. After the fertilization, again division starts, again division. After 5 days our blastocyst forms, and the blastocyst will come up to here, and then it gets implanted. This is the process of fertilization. So what you should come to know about the spermatozoa, their survival or their anti-sperm antibodies, any anti-sperm antibodies is present in the semen or in the cervix, all these things we have to know. And then DNA fragmentation or any chromosomal anomalies are there, all these things we have to estimate about the male partner. Afterwards, female partner. About female partner, we have to estimate about the egg growth. We have to do one transvaginal sonography and how many eggs are there, all the hormones are good or not, complete hormone profile or complete and AMH, anti-Mullerian hormone level, and where the tubes, whether the tubes are patent or not, whether the egg is growing properly or not, whether the egg size is very less for the day of the menstrual cycle, whether they are getting fertilized or not, all the things we have to estimate. Whether the implantation occurs properly, whether it is the proliferative endometrium or secretory endometrium, the phase of the stage of the endometrium also we have to come to know. So certain tests we have to do for a female also, all the hormone profile we have to do, AMH, all the normal blood tests we have to do. If it is a secondary infertility, some torch infections may cause secondary infertility, many abortions will be caused by many connective tissue disorders, anti-phospholipid antibodies like SLE, like connective tissue disorders, anti-lupus antibodies, all these things we have to, anti-thyroid antibodies sometimes thyroid also will cause infertility problem. So all the tests we have to do, and we have to do even hysteroscopy to estimate the endometrial cavity, whether there are any adhesions, whether there are any fibroids or polyps or septum, or whether the blood supply is good, whether it is pale mucosa or good mucosal glands are there, everything we have to estimate about the bed where the baby is going to implant in the endometrial cavity. So that about that cavity we have to come to know by doing hysteroscopy. And after that, any procedure if requires, we have to do the procedure also. After diagnostic hysteroscopy, if there is any problem, we have to remove all the problems. And diagnostic laparoscopy to know about the tubes, whether the tubes are open or not, tube-ovarian relationship is proper or not, whether the uterus is proper, whether the shape of the uterus is good or not, whether there is any anomaly during the birth of a female child, maybe uterus may be small, that is uniconvate uterus, or uterus may be divided, or uterus may be septate, in between like inside the uterine cavity one wall will be there. These kind of problems we have to estimate. So all these things we have to estimate, then we can decide everything is proper or not, and what kind of treatment the couple has to undergo, what kind of surgery the couple has to undergo, otherwise what kind of diagnostic laparoscopy or hysteroscopy they have to undergo. Then we will decide and we will come for a conclusion that this kind of treatment is possible for this couple. If there is no possibility of the treatment for any IUI, IVF, ICSI, if they don't give proper result, suppose if the uterus is divided and we call uterus diadelphys, like two uteri will be there, sometimes there may not be good success after doing good procedures also. That time we may advise surrogacy procedure. So the level of problem, the level of treatment. Finally, how they can conceive. This you have to know by your doctor very properly, and then you can decide the treatment option and go for the treatment and better conceive as early as possible in a small age, and then you can work very properly after having your family, complete family.